over the last few years. Good warm-up right there, but let's transition to the association, where the Warriors got back into the win column last night when they took down the Houston Rockets 105-98. Steph Curry led the way with 27 points. Jimmy Buckets chipped in 19 to hold off a late surge from Houston. Golden State is now 3-1 since acquiring Butler at the deadline. Draymond Green recognizes the difference Butler has made for the team. Take a listen.
He's a franchise changer. He's done that everywhere he's gone, and he is helping revitalize what we got here, the belief amongst this team now that he's arrived as opposed to what it was before he got here. It's night and day.
Drink it in America. Say hello to Kendrick Perkins and Brian Windhorst, who are here with us. Windy, we're going to begin with you. Which team can change the narrative the most after the All-Star break?
Boy, Draymond Green looks like a guy going on vacation. I'm jealous of him. Yeah, I think he's headed down your way, Stephen A. So the Warriors have already felt the impact of getting Jimmy Butler. They're in the middle of a long road trip. That last night was the 6th out of a 7-game road trip because their arena's in use for the All-Star game. When they get back and start playing at home again, I think the Warriors can rise up the standings. Now, I am not in the camp that says this is a championship contender, but remember, when they made this trade for Jimmy Butler, they were in 11th place in the West. And they haven't moved up that far since, but the standings are tightly packed. And I think what they are looking at is to see if they can get that 6th seed, if they can avoid the play-in and get into the playoffs proper. They're 4 games back of the Clippers to do that. I think Jimmy Butler can be the type of guy that can take them. They've had so many close losses, Joe. I think they've had 17 games this year that they've been in clutch time, they haven't been able to win. I think Jimmy Butler's a game changer in that regard. I think they have the 7th or 8th easiest schedule coming in, so not super easy, but not super hard. And there's a couple of teams in front of them that are in some trouble, including Dallas, who is facing serious, serious injury problems. So I watch for the Warriors to move up in the second half.
So do I. I do. I still don't believe that it's nothing against Jimmy at all. I definitely think Jimmy is an upgrade. I definitely think he helps make them better. It's just that I don't think the parts around him can do but so much come playoff time, particularly against any opposition with size. Having said all of that, what Jimmy Butler has reminded us of, Wendy, Big Perk, I love how he can get to the line. I love how he brings a different dimension to the Golden State Warriors. Yeah, you got Steph Curry working through picks and looking for an open spot so he can launch long range. You got Jimmy Buckets. He had like 34 free throws in his first 3 games as a Golden State Warriors. He's going to get to the free throw line. And that helps Golden State in a variety of ways. Biggest thing is that you got somebody that knows how, not just as aggressive, but knows how to be aggressive efficiently and effectively if you're the Golden State Warriors and Jimmy Buckets. Number 2, because he goes to the free throw line, that's getting breaks, and that's providing breaks for somebody like Steph Curry, who's running around all the time. Remember, he's about to turn 37 years of age in March. And so I think those kind of things definitely help him, and it helps the Golden State Warriors, and plus it helps Draymond Green because he doesn't have to be the lone tough guy on his squad. He's got another brother like Jimmy Buckets that's going to be right there with him. With that being said, I'm still going to throw my Knicks into the mix as an answer to this question in terms of which team can change the narrative. I'm going to bring the Knicks up in there. I think Mitchell Robinson, once he comes back, I think Cat gets to the 4. Cat getting to the 4 obviously is going to unleash him even more, and he's already been an all-star. He's been terrific. Jalen Brunson, big body Brunson, as Big Perk loves to call him, has been balling. He's a top 5 league MVP candidate. If Mitchell Robinson can give you anything defensively, and OG Anunoby comes back from his foot injury, and this brother is healthy, I don't think we're going to be complaining nearly as much about the Knicks defense as we have been complaining. And if that happens, things get very interesting in what I consider to be a 3-headed race in the Eastern Conference between Boston, Cleveland, and the New York Knicks.
Well, who's complaining? Who's complaining about the New York Knicks?
A lot of people are complaining about the Knicks because you said who complaining. You didn't say you weren't complaining. You said who's complaining. I'm saying there's a lot of people that's been complaining about their defense. That is true, Kendrick.
Well, why?
Because their defense has not been good.
I didn't know. I'm just saying I didn't know the NBA Finals was won in February. I thought the NBA Finals was in June. So listen. here's the thing, right? The Knicks, we cannot evaluate the Knicks because they haven't been whole. And if I ask you right now, Stephen A., matter of fact, I'm going to ask you to grade the Knicks up until this point, right? What do you give them? They're sitting in the third spot, 36-18. If you had to give them a letter grade, what grade would you give them right now?
Before I answer that question, let me say this. I'm offended at any question that Big Perk asked Stephen A. about the Knicks because you act like you some savior, some paragon of protection for the New York Knicks when your ass is in Beaumont, Texas or someplace else acting like you grew up a New York Knicks fan. It's very offensive to me that you do that. But having said that, I'm going to ask you a question, Big Perk. I'm going to tell you I would give them a grade of B. Their offense is exceptional, and I can't say enough about Cat and Brunson. But their defense has been horrible. And for Tom Thibodeau to be the head coach of a defense that has not been good, that scares me. That scares me.
Well, listen. I think you have to give it time, right? They just got Karl Anthony Towns, and he's fit in just fine offensively, right? Mikal Bridges, he's starting to find his stride within this offense. You need a big to anchor that defense. Karl Anthony Towns is not that guy, and that's okay. We saw Karl Anthony Towns play his best basketball, some of his best basketball defensively, when he had an anchor, a guy that could block shots and alter shots at the rim, and a guy like Rudy Gobert. That's why Mitchell Robinson is going to help this team tremendously, being that athletic big. And I appreciate the New York Knicks for not rushing him back. Let him take his time because they're in a great spot. They're only 2.5 games out from the second spot. The Knicks are a legit threat. And I told Wendy this earlier this morning on Get Up. The X factor, that could be the huge X factor if they happen to face the Boston Celtics or the Cleveland Cavaliers, is OG Anunoby. I believe that he's a 2025 version of Scottie Pippen, the way he's been balling this year, doing it on both ends of the floor. Big body Brunson, we know what he could do taking over 4 quarters. And you talk about Brunson being in the MVP conversation. Karl Anthony Towns is right there as well. And now we're starting to see Tom Thibodeau go a little deeper into his bench. Precious Achiuwa has been playing some pretty good basketball. Deuce McBride has been playing some good basketball. They're going to find their stride. Come March, come April, we'll see the best of this New York Knicks team, and I believe they're going to be looking eye to eye with the Cavs and the Celtics.
And the Knicks are going to be good no matter what. It's just a matter of can they get a little bit better or do they get a little bit worse. When we're talking about teams, however, changing the narrative, what about the team the Knicks squared off with in the opening round last year, Philadelphia? Like, their stock couldn't be any lower right now, Stephen A. Can they change the narrative at all between now and the end of the season?
No, not at all. Joel Embiid, you can't depend on him. It just seems to be getting worse. And I don't think